Okay, quick scenario for you. Just imagine you're traveling, maybe somewhere new. English is the main language.
Hmm.
And bam, you see something unexpected happen. Someone looks faint, maybe collapses, or, I don't know, a small accident down the street.
Yeah.
Could you explain clearly, like right then and there, what's going on?
Mm.
How would you even talk to emergency services if you needed to?
That moment, right, where the adrenaline hits and your mind just races trying to grab the right words.
Totally.
It's tough enough in your own language, let alone another one.
Uh-huh.
And in an emergency, while hesitating, that can have real consequences.
Absolutely. Those moments are just so critical, and being clear is, well, everything.
It really is.
So today we're doing a deep dive into essential vocabulary for emergency situations.
Yeah, this is important stuff.
We've been digging into some, honestly, vital source material that makes such a powerful case for this. Knowing the right English words for those urgent moments. You know, medical issues, accidents, sudden problems. It's not just helpful. It can, like, seriously cut down response time, potentially save lives.
Think of this deep dive as your kind of rapid response language kit.
Okay.
The whole mission here is to get these crucial words and phrases sort of ready to go.
Right.
So you're not, fumbling when the pressure's on.
Yeah, you don't want to be searching for words then.
Exactly. You need words that are precise enough for responders to get it, but simple enough that you can actually remember them instantly.
Right. You don't need perfect grammar. You just need speed and clarity.
Precisely.
The sources we looked at, they break this down pretty logically, starting with maybe the most common kind of public emergency, medical crises.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So according to this material, what's the absolute, #1 phrase?
Well, unsurprisingly, the sources put call an ambulance right at the very top.
Okay, basic.
It's the fundamental action phrase, really.
Yep.
You might need to add a little bit, a brief description.
Right.
Something like, call an ambulance, he's unconscious.
Unconscious. Wait, that word itself is pretty significant, isn't it?
It is. It means someone isn't awake, they're not responding.
Right.
The sources give examples like, she fell down and is unconscious. It's just direct, leaves no room for guessing about their state.
Yeah, very clear.
Exactly. And beyond that first call, you need to describe what you're actually seeing.
Okay.
Common critical symptoms, injuries, things like bleeding, especially severe bleeding.
Wow. Right.
The material gives a really clear example. He's bleeding heavily from the arm. That adds vital detail fast.
And what if someone can't breathe?
Yeah.
Or something's blocking their airway?
That's choking. Yeah. It signals an obstruction.
Right.
The source uses that vivid example. He's choking on food. Something you could easily see happen in, say, our restaurant.
Yeah, definitely. Heart problems are another big category the sources bring up.
Oh, absolutely. Knowing heart attack and how to describe chest pain is just vital. Phrases like, she's having chest pain, I think it's a heart attack. That communicates a potential, life-threatening event instantly.
Right.
And what's interesting is how these simple terms are, globally recognized by emergency dispatchers and responders. It lets them prioritize, prepare.
That makes total sense. They're listening for those specific keywords, aren't they?
Exactly. They are.
The sources also list other common serious things you might see or, experience yourself. Burn, broken bone, allergic reaction.
Practical stuff.
Seeing the examples really helps. Like, he got burned by hot oil, or I think she broke her leg. Maybe he's having an allergic reaction to peanuts. It just drives home how useful this vocabulary is for everyday risks, really.
And what the sources really underline here is that you don't need to be making complex medical diagnoses.
Right, you're not a doctor.
No. These are just descriptions of what you can see or what's happening, using words that are widely understood. It's all about getting the type of problem across quickly, accurately.
Okay. So that's the medical basics covered. What about other kinds of urgent situations? Things that might need different help, like accidents or maybe crime.
Yeah, the sources move into that too, situations needing police involvement.
All right.
And similar to the medical side, the absolute core phrase is, call the police.
Simple enough.
A classic example they give is, someone just broke into the house, call the police. It's that non-negotiable instruction.
Gotcha. And road accidents, sadly pretty common.
Yeah.
Reporting one effectively seems crucial.
Oh, yes. There's been an accident is fundamental.
Okay.
Then you add location, right? There's been a car accident at the junction, something like that.
Makes sense.
The sources also define hit and run, which is, when someone causes an accident, just leaves.
Ah,
Knowing that term, it was a hit and run, he didn't stop, gives critical info to the authorities right away.
okay. What if you just see something suspicious? Like it doesn't feel right, but you're not sure exactly what's wrong.
Yeah, the term suspicious activity is kind of perfect for that.
Hmm.
Huh.
You could say, I saw some suspicious activity near the store. The sources explain this flags potential trouble for police, lets them check it out, even if you don't have all the details.
Right, so it's not always immediate life or death, but still important safety vocabulary.
Exactly. And, we also saw mentions of needing help if you lose important things like your wallet or passport.
Oh, yeah.
Saying, I lost my wallet or I lost my passport. That might need police help too, though maybe less urgent than, a direct threat.
Sure, definitely practical for travelers. But back to the really high-stakes stuff, the sources also cover being the victim of a crime yourself.
Precisely. Knowing how to state clearly, I've been robbed, or I've been mugged, or maybe I've been attacked. That's vital if it happens to you.
God forbid.
The examples are stark. He robbed me at gunpoint, or I was mugged walking home. These simple phrases just instantly convey how serious it is.
Wow.
These are words you desperately hope you never, ever need.
But just having them accessible, it gives you a voice in what could be a terrifying moment.
That's a really powerful point. These specific phrases, the ones we're pulling from the sources, they basically let you label the crisis clearly,
Yes.
which is the first step to getting the right kind of help and getting it fast.
And if you think about the bigger picture, emergency responders, they're trained to process info incredibly rapidly under immense pressure. So your ability to give them clear, simple keywords lets them grasp the emergency's nature and send the right resources, without delay.
And this leads right into the next key thing the sources emphasize.
Yeah.
Actually using these words when you talk to emergency services, they almost give like a mini script simulation.
Yeah, they do. It really shows the need for being concise. The operator asks 911, what's your emergency? Or the local equivalent, right?
Right.
And the source material stresses your response has to be immediate, packed with core info, what happened, who is affected, their condition, and your location.
Okay, key facts.
For example, there's been an accident. A man is unconscious and bleeding. We're on Main Street, near the pharmacy. Boom.
And they'll probably ask follow-up questions, right?
Yeah.
Like, is he breathing?
Definitely. And your answer needs to be simple, accurate. Yes, but he's not responding. We need an ambulance fast.
So no long stories.
No. The sources emphasize you don't need elaborate sentences. You need, and I like this phrase, sharp, simple survival English.
Survival English. I like that.
Getting the absolute critical information across is the only goal in that moment.
That quick list the sources include, just recapping the terms, it feels really useful for just, making them stick. Saying them out loud.
Yeah, absolutely.
Call an ambulance, unconscious, choking, bleeding, chest pain, allergic reaction, broken bone. Call the police, robbed, mugged, suspicious activity, emergency services, I need help, there's been an accident. It almost feels like memorizing a cheat sheet, a critical one.
And that feeling, that ready access, that's exactly what you want. The sources aren't just about listing words. They're also really big on how to make them automatic. They suggest practical ways to practice.
Like watching emergency scenes in movies or TV shows in English. And really listening for how people describe things.
Exactly that. Or even writing little role plays yourself. Pretend to call emergency services, say the key phrases out loud. Practicing with a friend is another great suggestion they make.
Or maybe just listening to and repeating these core terms often. The point seems to be active engagement, not just reading a list once.
Which brings up a really important question the sources kind of touch on indirectly. Why is this active practice so vital, especially for emergency words?
Okay, why?
Because when you're under extreme stress, your brain really struggles with complex retrieval.
Yeah.
You need words that are so ingrained, so practiced, they come out almost automatically.
Right. Like muscle memory, but for language.
Exactly. Practice builds that crucial automaticity. It takes vocabulary from just passive recognition to active instant recall.
So wrapping this up, what does this all boil down to for you, listening right now?
Well, emergencies are sudden, they're messy, they definitely don't wait for you to feel, perfectly fluent or comfortable with your English.
Not at all.
And having this critical vocabulary ready isn't just about, improving your English skills in general, it's about empowering yourself.
How so?
It builds confidence, it builds capability, it lets you communicate fast, clearly, accurately, when it absolutely, positively matters the most.
Yeah.
The sources really drive home that preparation is probably the single biggest factor in feeling capable when these unexpected, serious things happen.
Preparation equals confidence, basically.
Pretty much.
So, okay, here's a challenge for you listening. This is directly inspired by what we've unpacked from these sources today.
All right.
Take just 5 minutes, maybe right after this deep dive finishes, just quickly review those core phrases we pulled out. But then, to really make them stick, try this. Write a short scene. Describe some kind of emergency situation, any kind you like, and make sure you use at least 5 of those key words or phrases you just reviewed.
Ooh, I like that. That act of actually putting them into context, writing them down, maybe even saying them out loud as you write, that's where the learning really cements itself.
Right.
It moves this vital knowledge from just, interesting information you heard to a practical tool you could actually use if you needed to. It's about turning passive listening into active readiness.